Hi friends, welcome back to lecture series on ethical hacking. So in the last classes, in the last lectures, we are mainly discussing about the basic introduction to the ethical hacking, why we are going with ethical hacking, what is the need, what are the different type of phases of ethical hacking, how the ethical hacker should behave as it is similar to that of the attacker, how the attacker is going to attack our system or else any sort of system resources, what is the process that will be involved. And similar to in line with the attacker, how the ethical hacker also will do the same process. Everything we have gone through in the previous lectures. So coming to the second unit, today we'll be mainly talking about the enumeration. What exactly the enumeration is of, and what is the need for going with the enumeration, and from different how we are going to enumerate the required data from different type of sources. And then we also check about how the system hacking will be done. So let me go in detail about each individual things what we are going to discuss in the entire second unit. Here you can see the total second unit is divided into two parts, enumeration and system hacking. Primarily going with the enumeration. What exactly the enumeration is of? As I said, we will be going to get the required data from different type of sources. What enumerated data is of, and what is the enumeration. Here you can see in the slide, enumeration is nothing but a process. What is a process? Okay, we are gathering the information from different type of sources, as I said right now. So here you can see the definition. It's a process of actively gathering the information about system, users, services, and resources. For what? To identify the potential attack vectors, where there is a scope of having the attack. Those things we are going to identify, we are going to study. So once again repeating, exactly the enumeration is nothing but collecting the information from multiple sources, analyzing them, and check where there is a scope for the vulnerabilities. This is nothing but the enumeration. So in the entire enumeration process, to collect the required data, we will be using multiple sources. Okay, basically every system will be having the operating system, the applications once it has been connected to the network. Okay, how the required information will be collected from the network, and similarly for the communication we will be using different type of protocols like SMTP and other things, POP, different type of protocols. How we are going to get the data from those particular network device via the protocols. And apart from that, we are also getting the required information from not only Windows, we are also checking the required information once we are going with the Linux environment. More or less, we will be using the same procedure in the case of Mac or any sort of operating system what we are using in our system. And next to the enumeration, that is nothing but collecting the information to check the vulnerabilities where there will be scope from multiple sources. And next, we are also discussing about the system hacking. So basically, how the required system hacking will be carried out. Okay, for any hacker, what is the basic starting steps? How we are going to hack our own system. Okay, basic things. Every system will be equipped with some sort of username and more passwords. Okay, how these particular passwords will be cracked. Okay, suppose how we are going to choose the required passwords so that attacker will not attack our own system. And next, apart from that thing, somehow the attacker has gone into my system, and how we are going to hide the required files, how we are going to maintain the system, and moreover the file handling. Everything will be carried out in this entire second unit. First of all, let me go with the enumeration. So, in the entire this lecture video, we will be mainly talking about the Windows enumeration. In the entire, Anna, ఒకసారి బ్రేక్ ఇచ్చుకోవచ్చు ఇక్కడ 2 seconds మళ్ళీ కలపడం కుదురుతుందా?
Done మీరు కంటిన్యూ చేయండి.
Okay.
చిన్న గ్యాప్ ఇచ్చి కంటిన్యూ చేయండి.
Okay. In the entire lecture web series, in this entire video lecture, we will be mainly talking about the Windows enumeration. And next we also talk about some sort of network enumeration. Okay, and moreover SNMP enumeration, different type of things. Okay, first of all, let me go with the Windows enumeration. So here you can see it's a simple process. What we are doing, we are collecting the detailed information about the operating system what we are using. Here the operating system that we are using is nothing but the Windows. So what I will be doing once I am logging into the system, okay, first of all, I will be initially accessing where there is a chance of having the vulnerabilities. The security testing will be carried out. Okay, so how we are going to we will be gathering the data to identify the user accounts. That is nothing but generally every operating system, once I am going to log in, it will be giving different type of accounts. In generally, I'll be going with the username or else things what I am giving. Okay, the identifying the user accounts and what are the services that has been involved with, and what about its exact system or else a security configuration. In the previous versions of the Windows operating system, you are very much familiar that Windows is less secure than compared to that of the Linux or else other Unix or else other operating system. But nowadays, the Windows is also providing great security features, implementing the firewalls. Okay, different type of services has been available. Okay, so let me go in detail about this Windows enumeration. The first of all, going with the user and moreover the group enumeration. So generally, every user will be using the required system. So not only a single user will be having multiple user accounts. Every user will be having its own privileges, its own permissions and everything. So first of all, what I will be going to do in the case of user and moreover group enumeration, we will be gathering the local and moreover the domain user accounts who exactly using the system. Okay, the admin accounts and moreover the group memberships. Okay, this particular information will be collected. Why? Because a system will not be used by a single person. We will be having a group of persons. Suppose, especially in the case of corporate company, once you are logging out from one particular system, okay, the next batch or else the next persons will be logging into the same system. They will be using their own user accounts. Okay, next to that thing, we also make the required information from the net BAS. What exactly the net BAS is nothing but. Okay, here we'll be mainly talking about revealing the system names and what are the folders that has been shared. Okay, that particular share is having the edit permissions or else only view only permissions. And when the users has been logged in and logged out, what is the time that has been spent? Okay, the entire domain information will be simply maintained in the case of net BAS enumeration. It is mainly to access the network resources, which particular network that has been used by the person, okay, to which particular systems that has been communicated, what is the IP addresses, what is the packet flow, everything will be simply gathered in the case of net BAS enumeration. Next, going with the SMB enumeration. SMB, as the name implies, server message block. Okay, it will be mainly checking about the discovering of any sort of misconfigurations. Okay, if any misconfigurations has been there, when we are sharing any sort of files, when we are sharing any sort of resources, that may lead to the security vulnerabilities. Okay, we are analyzing the server message blocks. Okay, we'll be using different type of protocols, which particular files has been shared. Okay, that particular files is having what type of permissions. Everything will be simply checked. In my network, we'll be having multiple terminals. Okay, I may be having the routers, I may be having the printers, I may be having the scanners and different type of devices. All this particular information will be maintained. Next, coming to the Active Directory enumeration. Here we are mainly checking about the domain structure. Okay, and moreover the privilege that has been involved with. Okay, it will be mainly focusing about the domain controller. Okay, and what is the trust relationship between multiple domains and multiple organizations. And what is a password policy that has to be maintained. Generally, passwords policy makes that, let me go with a small example. Suppose if I am going with any sort of banking applications, at every 15 days or else 20 days, we'll be getting some sort of alert. Okay, your password has been recently changed at that time. Why can't you change the password? Suppose if I am changing the password, if I am giving a small modification to the existing password also, it will be simply giving an alert. Okay, this particular password is matching to more or less last 2 to 3 passwords. Better to have a higher passwords. Okay, these type of information will be simply provided. Okay, that comes to the Active Directory enumeration. And next comes to the service and moreover policy enumeration. Here we are mainly detecting about the misconfigurations once again, and moreover the privilege that has been escalated, okay, for executing the required opportunities. Mainly it will be examining the running services. Exactly. Suppose in Windows, I will be using multiple applications to my day-to-day work. Okay, so it will be simply examining all the applications, what are the different type of services that has been provided by those particular applications. Everything will be cross-checked. Okay, regarding the scheduling the required tasks, what are the different type of security policies that has been involved for that particular applications, what we are using at that particular instant of time, and moreover regarding to the registry settings also. Okay, what type of information will be simply maintained as a cookies as in my registries. Okay, this is about the basic Windows enumeration. The same procedure will be more or less will be followed in the other type of operating systems also. So here we are checking mainly gathering the required information, checking the user accounts, the services that has been involved, the services that has been provided by that particular operating system to my operations, and moreover its exact security configurations. What are the different type of security mechanisms, protocols, firewalls, what the things that has been involved with. Every information will be maintained at the level of Windows enumeration. Next comes to the how we are going to provide the security at the Windows level. Just now I had said about the previous versions of the Windows operating system are less secured than compared to that of the Linux or else other operating systems. So to overcome these things, Windows has gone with different type of services by increasing the security features. Okay, it has developed in such a manner that it is providing a built-in protection mechanism. So how this particular built-in mechanism will help the user to provide the required security? It will be mainly designed to safeguard our system. Not only system, it will be checking about the network settings and the data that has been transferred, that is coming into the network and going out of the network. If it is the data is related to any sort of cyber threats, everything will be cross-checked. Nowadays, the operating system that we are using, like Windows 10, Windows 11, okay, whenever we are installing any sort of application, it will be simply asking different type of permissions. Whenever, if any alert has been there, it will be triggering one particular alert. If any unwanted information is coming into my network or into my system, it will be triggering an alert, whether it is genuine or not. Okay, different type of things will be simply provided by operating systems what we are using nowadays, especially going with the Windows. And the Windows itself is defined with the predefined defenders. Okay, it will be simply called as a Microsoft Defender antivirus. Previously, in the old versions of the Windows operating system, we have to install different type of antivirus softwares. Okay, suppose one particular antivirus software can identify some particular files, some particular unwanted information or also virus. Suppose if any virus is newly coming into the market, automatically I have to go with the different type of antivirus softwares. It will be automatically a burden for the user, and moreover it will be automatically affecting the system resources also. So to avoid those things, Windows is providing with different type of security mechanisms. A built-in security mechanism has been predefinedly available in the case of Windows what we are using nowadays. So in the real time, what it will be doing, it will be providing the protection against the virus. Okay, vital information resource under the seas. Okay, this is about the basic virus. But every sort of thing will be having a different type of functionality. But commonly we'll be calling it as a virus. But generally, unwanted information, it will be maybe like a virus, it may be a worm, it may be the bacteria and different type of things. But genuinely and normally for our day-to-day work, we'll be simply calling it as a basic virus itself. Okay, we'll be categorizing depending upon the functionality of that particular unwanted information into multiple categories. Okay, so it will be providing the required security from the malware, okay, the viruses, and ransomware virus also. Okay, where these particular ransomware virus, what it will be doing, once it has been entering into the network or into my system, automatically it will be captures the entire data, encrypts the data with some sort of case. Once these particular data has to be used, has to be revealed, once again I have to encrypt the data, or else we have to decrypt the data. So automatically the keys will not be available with us. It will be available with the offenders. Automatically we have to make the required communication with those particular attackers to get my own data. Okay, automatically it will be taking a large amount of time. So Windows is providing a defender activities nowadays. Okay, it also provides the required spyware. It will be what it will be doing. It will be constantly checking the required files. Once any file has been downloaded into my system, okay, it will be simply cross-checking whether it is a genuine or not. Even though if you are downloading any sort of exe file, okay, is there any unwanted information that has been attached with that particular executable file? Everything will be cross-checked. And next, going with the Windows firewall. What exactly the firewall is of? Okay, more previously we have to install a separate firewall. Suppose even though we are working with a single system. Okay, the firewall is a we are using different type of softwares to run on these particular firewalls to check whether the packet is genuine or not. Generally, in the case of firewalls, what I will be doing, especially in concern to the network, okay, it will be using a packet filtering router. So what it will be doing, all the incoming packets, all the outgoing packets, especially for the data communication, once it has been connected to the network, okay, it will be checking all the incoming and more outgoing packets, whether it is genuine or not. Okay, so the router, it will be simply checking whether once the data has been coming from any particular party via one particular port number or else MAC address or else IP address at that particular instant of time with some sort of packet size and the transmission delay between each individual packet of this thing. Suppose everything will be cross-checked. Okay, if anything is of mismatch with the things what I'm expecting, automatically I will be discarding those particular packets. Okay, this is a simple mechanism that will be followed in the case of firewalls. So it will be constantly monitors and controls all the incoming and more outgoing packets. So generally in the case of firewalls, what I will be doing, I suppose if I am going with a single packet filtering routers, automatically burden will be increased with all the incoming and more outgoing packets to make the required checking. So two different type of packet filtering routers will be implemented in the case of firewall mechanism. All the incoming packets will be cross-checked by one router and all the outgoing packets will be cross-checked by the other router. So automatically we can reduce the network traffic congestions and everything. So if any unwanted data is coming into the network, automatically it will be considered it as unauthorized and the data will be automatically discarded before entering into my network or else into my system also. So these are the different type of features that has been provided by Windows to maintain the security. And next, going with the user account control. What exactly the user account control is of? Why? Because every system is used by multiple users. Every user will be having their own access privileges. Okay, so depending concern about the access control policies and privileges for every individual user. Okay, we are simply providing the required security mechanisms. Generally, admin will be having different type of access privileges. Once we want to install any particular application, so we have to go log in only with the admin. Suppose even though we are creating a normal other any dummy account or any sort of user account, so that particular account may not be having the privilege to install new applications, to browse some sort of data, delete the data and different type of things. So here comes to the privilege for every individual user accounts. So user account control policy has to be strictly implemented, which has been available in the case of Windows security mechanisms. So it will be simply preventing the unauthorized users or also unauthorized system changes by prompting for administrator. As I said, only admin will always be having the privilege to make any sort of modification. So if anything has been happened, automatically it will be providing a triggering alert for the administrator. Okay, before allowing any sort of system resource into the system or else before allowing any sort of data into the system, any sort of things. So next, going with the BitLocker drive encryption. So encryption is a mechanism what we are using in order to encrypt the required data. We will be using different type of encrypting algorithms. Okay, the encrypted data will be called as a ciphertext, what we have studied already in the network security and cryptography. We will be using the secret key encryption, public key encryption, okay, different type of mechanisms. In the case of secret key encryption, only single key will be used to make the encryption and decryption. Okay, in the case of public key encryption, we may use the public key to make the encryption and private key for the decryption, or else we will be using the private key for the encryption or else public key for the decryption. So any combination of these particular key mechanisms that has been involved with to make the required encryption, everything will be taken care about the BitLocker drive encryption. Not only Windows, different type of applications, especially in the case of social media. Even WhatsApp is also providing different type of end-to-end security mechanisms. End-to-end encryption will be carried out. Okay, that is the purpose of going with this BitLocker drive encryption. So encrypting the entire drive or else protected data. So it will be preventing the unauthorized users to access that particular data, especially when we are having a chance of having the device that theft or else any sort of loss, yeah, to provide the required security. So here we are using different type of tools like Windows Defenders will be used, Windows Firewalls will be used. We are using BitLockers, PowerShell, okay, providing the proper user account to control privileges and policies and different type of things. Definitely, these are the things which will be provided by the Windows operating system to provide the enhanced security mechanisms. Next, going with the NetBIOS or I'll say LDAP enumeration. First of all, we will be go with the NetBIOS. Okay, what about these particular NetBIOS and moreover LDAP enumeration will be simply used? How we are going to use these things? So these particular techniques will be enabling a ethical hacker to gather the proper information, especially concerned to the Windows-based networks. Okay, so network information will be collected from these NetBIOS. Okay, it will be providing information about the domain environments, the IP addresses, whatnot, everything concerned to the network, especially during the security testing process. So that NetBIOS enumeration is mainly to collect the required information about the system names, what are the different type of shared resources, whether my system has been shared in my network or not. Okay, what are the different type of shared privilege that has been given. Okay, who are the users that has been logged in. Okay, the domain details within the network, everything will be simply collected. And then apart from that, to make the things possible, we are using the NetBIOS name servers. Apart from the domain name servers, we will be using a NetBIOS name service within the network. So it will be mainly used to identify the host names and exactly its associated IP addresses. Once IP address has been there, we automatically can identify the MAC address also by using the address resolution protocol, ARP. And next, going with the shared resource discovery. Okay, once the system has been connected to the network, once the system resources has been shared, okay, we will be simply cross-checking, okay, which particular folders has been shared. Okay, which particular services has been shared from my system. Everything will be identified from the shared resource discovery. It will be maintaining some sort of repository for me. Okay, from that we can collect the required data. And next, going with the user and moreover the group information. So it will be simply providing the total user accounts. Okay, and moreover the not only the single user group memberships account. Suppose if I am going with the IGMP, that is nothing but the Internet Group Management Protocol. Suppose we are connecting logically, we are connecting multiple systems in a LAN network and forming a small group, and those particular group itself they want to communicate with each other. Suppose in my network we are having 100 terminals. But depending upon the operations what they are doing, suppose the tester group is having 10 terminals. So those particular tester group will be formed as a group, and we are using the IGMP protocol, okay, to make the required communication among themselves. Okay, there comes to the group information. So that particular information also can be revealed from the NetBIOS. And last, providing the required security risks. So it also will check about any sort of misconfigurations, especially the network plays a vital role in the case of ethical hacking. So from the network itself, there is a chance, there will be 100% chance for the attacker to enter into my system. Once the network has been properly configured, without any sort of backdoors, without any sort of trapdoors, automatically without any sort of proper configuration with the open ports and all these things, automatically we can provide a huge security there. So misconfigured NetBIOS services, it will be simply providing the sensitive information. Okay, it may leads to the risk of the unauthorized access. So to avoid those particular things, we are using the NetBIOS. Generally, I mean, you may be familiar about this particular Nmap. Okay, Nmap is the best tool to identify all these particular things. And apart from that thing, in the case of Linux, we do have the enum for Linux. Okay, different type of enumeration tools has been available, even PowerShell also. So this will be simply used in order to discover, identify, collect the required information, and which are in essential. Okay, provide those particular things, get the entire repository, check where there is a chance of having the threats. This is about the network bias. Okay, next to the net bias, we do have the LDAP also. In this particular LDAP enumeration, LDAP stands for the Lightweight Directory Access Protocol. It's a protocol which will be used once again in the network layer level. Okay, so it will be simply extracting the detailed information regarding the active directories that has been involved with where we are exactly working. That is nothing but the domain environments. So it will be providing the total detailed information about the directory services. So as I said, these particular, not only the providing the directory services, it also provides the user and moreover its own account enumeration details also, which particular account will be having what type of access control policies and privileges and all these things. Okay, it will be checking about the group and moreover its own every individual role in that particular group. Okay, whether that, but as I said in the previous slide, so if a group of people may be forming as a group by using the IGMP, Internet Group Management Protocol. So when they are want to communicate with each other within a single group, okay, we'll be checking about the group memberships. A single system can present, a single user can present in multiple groups also parallelly to make work in a feasible situation. So once it has been there in multiple groups, what is its own access control privileges? Okay, what is the level of that particular system or user in that organization? So everything will be simply cross-checked. We will be getting those particular information for using the LDAP. And next we'll be checking about the domain structure mapping also. So in my organization, we'll be having some sort of domain structure. Suppose if I'm going with the, what I have to say in our college. So the principal, next we'll be having some sort of domain like HODs, next we'll be having the class in charge, subject experts. We'll be having some sort of hierarchical here. So the same organization structure also will be simply followed in any sort of organization. So once I am going with these multiple levels of architecture. So we have to check every individual's domain controller has to be properly maintained and their own trust relation between each individual person that has been involved with and what are the different type of password policies that has to be followed. So all these particular things will be getting from the domain structure mapping process. And next going with the security risk also. So if this particular LDAP is not properly configured, okay, similar to that of the network bias, automatically there will be a chance for the attacker to use these particular loopholes to enter into my network. You can understand the situation. Once the attacker is entering into the network, automatically how it is going to affect the system resources, there will not be having any sort of limitation for that. Next, going with the SNMP. What exactly the SNMP is of? The SNMP stands for the Simple Network Management Protocol. So once again, it's an application layer level protocol. Okay, the basic SNMP in the first unit also had given some sort of introduction to the SNMP. It works with the basic principle of OMAP. What about this particular OMAP? Operation, maintenance, administration, and provision. SNMP, it will be mainly checking about the network configuration. Once one particular system is configured into the network, okay, so SNMP will be simply checking whether all the systems has been properly connected in my network. We do have in my SNMP, we do have the SNMP agent. Okay, we'll be having the SNMP protocol. So here the SNMP agent will be simply checking about all the devices that has been properly connected or not. So SNMP agent, okay, so it will be placing a vital role here if any misconfigurations has been there. Okay, what is the structure that has to be followed? Once I am establishing one particular network, as I said, it will be simply checking about the OMAP. Okay, operation, maintenance, administration, and provision. First of all, let me go with the provision. So in this particular provision, I will be simply checking, okay, this is my network. Okay, how many number of systems that can be there? Okay, what are the different type of routers that has to be involved with? Everything will be checked in the case of provision. Next, administration. We are going to establish my own network, and we are going with the day-to-day maintenance, not to have any sort of failures in my network. And once everything is proper, I will be doing my own day-to-day operations. So this is about the SNMP. SNMP, the pillars of SNMP is nothing but the four things. OMAP. Okay, operations, maintenance, administration, and provision. So on these particular four pillars itself will be the SNMP entire protocol will work out. So SNMP will maintain the total information about the network attached systems. These particular systems may be the node, host, switches, routers, gateways, any device that has been connected to my network. So we are very much concerned about this particular, how we are going to manage my network. So SNMP plays a vital role here. Generally, we do have multiple versions of SNMP. Okay, in the case of next system hacking also, we'll be discussing about the SNMP. Generally, we do have three versions of SNMP. Okay, SNMP version 1, version 2, and more version 3. In the case of SNMP version 1, we can transfer, the communication can be done, but it is not secured. But bulk data transmission can be accepted in the case of SNMP version 2, but it doesn't have the required security. From the SNMP version 3, we are providing different type of security mechanisms. In this SNMP, we do have the important tool called as a MIB, Management Information Base. It's a repository. It will be totally maintain the information about the entire network. Okay, this is nothing but the SNMP. So we have to properly get all the entire information about my network with the help of SNMP. Okay, as I said, we'll be having multiple versions of SNMP version 1 and moreover version 2. We don't have the required proper security mechanisms, but SNMP 3, what we are using nowadays, and even we do have the different type of versions of SNMP, which are providing the more security. So what type of information will be collected is nothing but we will be checking about the system name and moreover the description. Okay, and we are checking about the different type of running processes that has been going on at that particular instant of time. We'll be checking about the network interfaces, what are the different type of NICs, and moreover what are the different type of network device what we are using, and every individual device IP addresses. And we have to maintain the required repository by using the MIB, Management Information Base, to develop the proper routing tables. Which particular route is the best one to have the proper communication with the less instant of time. So routing tables will be maintained. These particular routing tables will be using different type of mechanisms. Okay, so next we are going with the device uptime and moreover its configuration. Okay, these are the main information that we are going to collect from the SNMP. These are very much important for me. Just now, as I said, this MIB, that is nothing but the management information base, it will be maintaining the hierarchical data. So to maintain the information about the device and everything. Okay, it will be maintained by the SNMP agent. Okay, we do have the SNMP agent and moreover the SNMP device. Okay, the agent plays a vital role here. So we do have the different type of protocols like SNMP VOC, Net SNMP, SolarWinds, different type of applications has been available to make the enumeration to be possible in the SNMP protocols. So this is about the Windows operating systems and how we are going to make the required enumeration from these SNMP, Windows, network bus, and moreover the LDAP. In the next lecture, we will be talking about the Linux enumeration. So how we are going to get the required information in the case of Linux environment. Thank you.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.